I'm Leslie Verghese. I oversee the counseling ministry of Restoration Counseling Services. I've been part of this church for the past 1 year, and it's been the grace of God that has sustained us thus far. I'm so overjoyed to be part of the church as well as this pioneering ministry that this church has started. Actually, in the Indian Christian community, it's very unheard of to have a church have a designated department for counseling. I've been in the counseling ministry and also in the counseling services, both in the secular field as well as in the Christian field for over 3 decades. And initially in the early 90s, when I approached a lot of people, especially churches and ministers, regarding counseling services, not even a counseling department, just to have counseling services being offered to the people in the church, it was almost hitting a brick wall, and there was absolutely no support whatsoever. So from there, after 3 decades, to see a church open its doors, to have a designated counseling department, and also to provide confidential counseling services through people who are professionally qualified, that's a huge leap. And I am definitely thankful to the Lord for the opportunity granted. It's a dream come true. And it's been almost 6 months that we started the services professionally in the church. And I have to give all glory to God, but at the same time be cognizant of the fact that how much is a felt need of counseling in our community. Because in the last 6 months, as I was going through our portal, the electronic medical record system that we use, we have had 42 people who have signed up and who have gone through the counseling services through our department. And they have come for premarital counseling, some have come for postmarital, and some have come for individual counseling, and some have come for parental counseling. Whatever be the case, to know that 42 people within the past 6 months have signed up and have gone through these services, that's a huge thing. And especially when these services are being offered voluntarily in a community which has a huge stigma towards counseling, especially because of the shame and honor culture that we're part of, and also the fact that there is a huge issue with regards to trust and confidentiality within our community. Also, we conducted 2 monthly seminars within these past 6 months. One we did on conflict resolution within marriage, and then the second one we did on stress and anger management, and also mental health issues. These 2 issues are very hugely prominent and profound in our community these days, because there are so many people who are very reactive and they do not take proactive measures. Early intervention is so important in these areas, but people usually do not take the early intervention proactive measures, and unfortunately that has caused many of the acute issues to become chronic. So these seminars that we conducted were primarily to create an awareness within the community, and to know that on a Saturday morning, we were able to get about 50 people for each of those seminars. So the goal that we have is that in the coming months, we will do a monthly seminar on topics that are very important to the community. God willing, we will be doing in January a seminar on advanced care planning. There are so many mishaps that has happened in families, people who have very suddenly taken ill. Some people have lost their lives due to a sudden heart attack. They were totally unprepared. So advanced care planning is something that people are not aware of. I mean, how prepared are you to face the inevitable when that hits you? And how have you prepared your family towards that? So that's something that we want to start talking about. And also, there are so many people in their 20s and 30s who are still remaining single. who have not been able to find a partner in their lives. How to find a partner, how to remain single and preserve the sanctity and the holiness of your life. And that's another area that is very important for our community. So these are the topics that we want to focus on in the coming months. So as a counseling department, the dreams and visions and the goals that we have had, we laid forth, we've been able to fulfill at least 50% of them. I'm really glad also to say that we use one of the most state-of-the-art assessment tools for depression screening in America. Harvard McLean developed eBasis 24, which is the most widely used tool for depression screening in the United States as well as abroad. Over 1,100 mental health institutions use them. We are the first not-for-profit organization within the South Asian community to purchase that package and to start administering it. And after administering that to a few people that have come to us for counseling, we were able to pinpoint exactly what is going on in their lives, especially with regards to depression, and be able to make those referrals to the appropriate mental health professional so that they will be able to get the psychiatric help that they need. Because there are certain situations where just verbal therapy is not going to help them. They will need to go through pharmacological interventions, and we were able to refer them to those professionals. So overall, I just stand very humble in the presence of God for what God has done in the past 6 months. But when I say that, I also want to make sure that it is a collective team effort. The church as a whole stood together in this endeavor. Young people, older people, ministers of the gospel, the elders, the deacons, everybody came together in support. Financial support was provided, emotional support was provided, physical support was provided. We were able to designate a beautiful space specifically designed and designated for counseling ministry. Just coming in there to a cozy environment and to be able to relax and to engage in conversation is very important. It's a very inviting place for people to come in. And for the seminars and for the other activities, we have a team of about 15 to 16 dedicated volunteers from within the church. Some of them are professionals who are working as doctors and physician assistants and nurses, and some of them are housewives who have volunteered their time and their talents and their treasures for the cause of the ministry. They've said that whatever that they're called into, they'll be willing to do. I have not had to worry about the food. I've not had to worry about the logistics. I just show up and then present, and everything else is taken care of. Every time that I walk into the counseling office, I'm so overjoyed because of the fact that everything that we need, we were able to garner with the minimal spending of money, mainly because of the sacrificial support of the church members. So overall, I look at it from an introspective perspective as well as a retrospective perspective and say we have 1,000+ reasons to thank the Lord for what He has done. But as Robert Frost said, woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep. It is just a drop in the bucket that we are now started. We are hoping that we will be able to do greater things if the Lord grants us another year and the years going forward. But at the same time, we're also hoping that this will serve as a role model, as a prototype for other churches and organizations to come forward and say, we will be able to do the same thing, because there are so many indigenous problems that are happening within the churches, and because there is no infrastructure within the church, people are forced to go out. And once they go out, they do get the counsel or the help that probably are not in unison with the doctrinal ideology of the churches that they stand for. And then what happens is that they make some drastic decisions in their lives that could be totally contradictory to what they have been taught and what the church stands for. So, how beautiful would it be if the church is able to blend these services within the church itself, so that there are designated professional people who are either paid employees of the church or people who are volunteers who are able to help people who are in need, so that our people do not have to go outside. And then at the same time, in the Dallas Metroplex, in the US as a whole, every local church will have their designated departments, or maybe 3-4 churches together will be able to access the services that one church is able to provide. So Restoration Counseling Ministries of Restoration Church is a pioneer venture, and I just have to say that we have done a lot, but we have a lot more to do in the coming days.